This guide covers everything you can buy with the elegant Tomestone of Poetics, commonly just called Poetics. The currency you earn for doing most daily duty roulettes as well as most level 50, 60, 70 and 80 content. If you are from the future, keep in mind that when a new expansion is released, all of the items of the previous expansion that cost Tomestones will be converted to a cost of Poetics instead. As such, it may be convenient to know that this guide was created around patch 6.3 of Endwalker. Now then, Poetics are, unsurprisingly, used to buy items from previous expansions that used to cost different tomestones when the expansion was current. To keep an overview of all the items you can get for Poetics, let's split up the options in 3 categories: combat gear, other items, and relic weapons. Let's start with where to spend your Poetics. When you reach the post-game of any given expansion, the vendors that sell combat gear, and any other items for that matter, for Poetics corresponding with the expansion will become available. Simultaneously, a vendor with a unique blue pouch icon will appear in associated zones. Each of the starting cities for level 50, Ishgard's Foundation for level 60, Kugane for level 70, and the Crystarium for level 80. These blue pouch vendors will have all of the items you can purchase with Poetics, in addition to a lot of other things apparently. Now, let's begin with the categories, starting with the most important, being the combat gear. The prices for the equipment is universally the same, with weapons costing 600 Poetics, chest pieces and pants costing 510, helmets, gloves and boots costing 345, and all accessories costing 280. Take note that the rings are not unique, so you can buy 2 and wear both. Speaking of accessories, for level 50 and 60 specifically, you can wear any of them as they are not role specific, so you should be extra careful to buy accessories with the correct attributes for your role. When accessing the items through the blue pouch vendors, they will categorize them correctly for you. A full set of Poetics gear will cost you 4055 Poetics. At level 50, you can purchase the Ironworks Magitech equipment at item level 130. You can also buy Gerald's Masterwork weapons, but these are only item level 110, so you should generally avoid buying these even if they look very flashy and pretty. If you're curious, the armor associated with these weapons are bought at the Hunt Billmaster at your Grand Company, bought for allied seals. At level 60, you can purchase the Shire equipment at item level 270. You can also purchase Primal equipment, but these are only item level 240, so again, you should avoid buying these. At level 70, you can purchase the Skaven equipment at item level 400. You can also purchase Ryomiyako equipment, but these are only item level 370, so once again, avoid buying these. At level 80, you can purchase the Crypt Lurker equipment at item level 530. You can also purchase Crystarium equipment, but these are only item level 500, so one last time, avoid buying these. If you are playing through the main scenario quest for the first time, it is highly recommended that you invest Poetics in equipment when you can. You should prioritize weapons above everything else. For all of the expansions, you will typically be handed a set of the weaker alternative equipment like the item level 110 stuff at some point in the post-game of the expansion. So saving Poetics for when you really need a gear upgrade may be preferable. Poetics gear like this is also the best you can get when leveling up other jobs. So the 2 other categories should typically only be considered should you not need any more Poetics equipment. Speaking of which, let's move on to the other items category. On the blue pouch vendors, you will find these other items under the combat supplies category, and what is offered varies somewhat between the expansions. For the level 50 vendors, you can buy a few minions for a symbolic amount, as well as some orchestrion rolls. For level 60, you can also buy some orchestrion rolls. Additionally, you can buy a whole bunch of materials that may seem somewhat pointless at a glance, but these are used for crafted equipment from the expansion which, well, outside of glamour, still means it is useless. Anyway, a particular item worth highlighting is the unidentifiable ore under the special arms materials section, which can be traded for grade 3 Thanalan topsoil at Bertana in Idleshire. This topsoil is used in production of Thavnarian onions, used to increase the max level of your chocobo companion, which means it always has some value on the market. For level 70, you can also buy crafting materials, as well as a few orchestrion rolls. You can also buy grade 6 materia for 100 poetics each, appropriate for the gear. For level 80, it is just the crafting materials though. And finally, the relic weapons category. For the zodiac weapons at level 50, you will need a few different materials, some of which can be purchased from the blue pouch vendors. I believe you need around 1460 poetics per weapon. But you will also need a ton of other things, including a lot of time, just to be clear. The poetics related items the blue pouch vendor sells will typically be found under the combat supplies category and special arms materials subcategory. For level 60, the anima weapon similarly requires a lot of time and a lot of different materials, but just the poetics part will cost you a cool 23,000 poetics. So you should probably start today and not tomorrow if you want one. The level 70 relic weapons, the Eurekan weapons, don't require any poetics. Yes, I said 23,000 with 3 zeros. For level 80, the resistance weapons, the first starter weapon is free, but every weapon beyond the first costs 4 Thavnarian scale powder, adding up to a total of 1000 poetics. Take note that you need to visit specifically the level 50 or 60 vendors to find these. Just to reiterate, if you have any use of the poetics combat gear at all whatsoever, you should prioritize saving poetics for this specific purpose. Otherwise, buying the less important items are probably fine. Keep in mind that the relic weapons from previous expansions can generally be considered only useful as glamour, so you should not go out of your way to farm these weapons with the intent of them being a gear upgrade. Around 5 levels into the following expansion, you will find better weapons anyway. I do not recommend spending poetics on buying materia, but all of those crafting materials may serve a specific purpose. Or you might find a niche market to earn some extra gil on, so I cannot say whether they are good or bad. Now, that is all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to support me and my channel, you can like the video, leave a comment, subscribe and hit the bell to get notified when next I post a video. If you want to give even more support than that, you can also become a member of the channel. Fun fact, if you have reached the end game, you will notice that Tomestone equipment at level 90 does not come augmented. Back in the day, you had to buy the augmenting materials for 100 poetics per item for the old content versions. And the rings were unique, meaning that the best you could do typically involved an augmented ring and a 10 item levels weaker unaugmented ring. The patch that made the vendors sell augmented equipment outright came one minor patch before the rings no longer being unique, causing some interesting problems when gearing in that particular period.